All right, how's it going, guys? I got another video. This one is from the Business Insider. It's saying Walmart, Costco, Target are barred from selling non-essential items such as clothing and electronics in parts of the U.S. I think this is absolute fucking horseshit. The government doesn't get to decide what is essential and what is not essential. How about if you're working from home and you need a certain piece of electronics to be able to complete your job, and now you can't get it? They're not going to. You're going to end up getting fired or something like that. The government doesn't get to regulate what is essential and not. I think this is going way past fucking just bullshit. If we look at the, as of right now, filming the night of the 8th, if we go to worldometers.info, it's saying there's like 434 cases, there's 14,000 deaths, and there's 22 recovered. So we'll get into this. This is posted like 13 hours ago. It says big box stores and grocery chains in certain areas of the U.S. are being barred from selling non-essential items to customers to reduce foot traffic and prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Certain local governments have directed stores to empty areas with non-essential items such as clothing and electronics or rope off these items for customers. Some shoppers have applauded the new restrictions. They're a bunch of fucking Karens. And encouraged other local governments to implement. Like the Karens is like the new word for the National Socialists in the 30s and 40s. We call those Karens today. They're willing to give up any shred of like dignity and liberty and self-sustainability for a little bit of safety from the government. Local governments around the U.S. are taking more draconian measures, they're acting socialist, communist, Marxist, to prevent the spread of the coronavirus by barring essential stores such as grocery chains or big box retailers from selling non-essential items such as clothing and electronics. You don't know what is and isn't essential. How about if I go into Walmart looking for a certain part for my bicycle? Like, oh, no, you can't go there, but I commute back and forth to work on a bicycle. If I can't get that, then I can't go back and forth to work. So that is essential for me, but somebody that wants to do a Sunday stroll, it may not be essential to them. You don't get to know, and you don't get to dictate what is and what isn't essential. These stores, which have been allowed to stay open they've been allowed to stay open. No, I'm getting tired of this complete government overreach. These stores, which have been allowed to stay open during the state lockdowns because they sell groceries or offer pharmacy services, for example, are now required in some parts of the U.S. to remove non-essential items or rope off areas of the store so customers can't access these products. I would still go in there and grab the stuff and buy it if I needed it. Vermont is among those clamping down on this. At the end of March, the State Agency of Commerce and Community Development directed essential big box stores, including Walmart, Costco, and Target, to stop selling non-essential items not listed in the governor's executive order outlining essential services. Large big box retailers generate significant shopping traffic by virtue of their size and the variety of goods offered in a single location. Lindsay Curl, the Secretary of Agency, said in a statement at the time. She added, this volume of shopping traffic significantly increases the risk of further spread of this dangerous virus to Vermonters and the viability of Vermont's healthcare system. We are directing these stores to put public health first and help us reduce the number of shoppers. So states and stuff have closed down certain things like restaurants and stuff. They already essentially had decimated that part of the economy. And now they're wanting to destroy other parts of the economy by saying they're non-essential. Certain products and stuff, certain whole businesses that produce products that are now going to be called non-essential, they're going to get decimated as well. The way they're doing this is going to be way more detrimental than the coronavirus will have ever been. They're like destroying like 100 million people's lives in the U.S. And this is like not even 500,000 cases. Here's the thing too, there's a ton of people that are going to be asymptomatic. They're not going to show any signs. So there's like way more people that are like technically infected. So the actual deaths will be in reality a very low significant number compared to what they're being projected as now. Customers can shop for these non-essential items using online delivery services or curbside pickup, Curl said. Okay, so it's not as terrible. Walmart in Vermont seeds are non-essential. You know, during this whole crisis where you're like, oh, maybe I ought to grow, you know, it's springtime now. You never really know what this may happen, so maybe I ought to grow my own food. No, government will provide for you. We'll give you a $1,200 check. Who cares if your expenses are $3,000 to $4,000 a month? We'll give you $1,200. Well, if you don't make too much, that is. In the past, doesn't matter if you're fired now. This should never happen. This is like government enforced Venezuela. It is the way they're acting. Vermont 2. By the order from the state of Vermont, these items in this non-essential area are not available to purchase. Please use walmart.com for your needs until further notice. Okay, so you're still able to order it online, which isn't as terrible as I originally thought, but still, it's especially seeds. If you're going to grow your food. The Board of Commissioners in Howard County, Indiana, enforced a similar rule earlier in March, preventing businesses in that area that were deemed essential from selling non-essential items. The board said it had received complaints from businesses that were forced to close because they sold mostly non-essential items, saying it was unfair for other stores to continue selling these products. Retail workers in the area also complained that customers were congregating in stores and browsing non-essential goods because they were bored at home, thus filling up the aisles and putting workers at greater risk, the board said. There's a bunch of people that listen to like mainstream media. They hear this like fear-mongering that they're put out, and they're absolutely scared because they're like naive to the whole what's actually going on. There have been reports elsewhere of other counties putting similar rules into play. While some people said they dislike the new restriction, others applaud the change and encourage other local governments to do the same. I may do a video in the next day or so. I think there was a certain governor, it may be, I can't remember which one it is, maybe South Dakota? I'll have to look it up. Like, they're like, yeah, we're not doing this. We're not destroying people's lives over the possibility that something may happen. We'll get into the unemployment aspect here as well. These 5 staggering estimates for weekly unemployment claims show just how deeply the coronavirus crisis has damaged the U.S. economy. The consensus economists estimate is that 5 million Americans filed for unemployment insurance in the week ending April 3rd. The report will be released by the Labor Department on Thursday. During the week ending March 21st, 3.3 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits. And in the following week, 6.6 million more filed, bringing the total to nearly 10 million in just 2 weeks. And of that 10 million, you got to understand too, there's probably a number of them that like live by themselves, but there's probably also a number of them that are the head of the household. That's like the main breadwinner, if not the only breadwinner for that family of however many it may be. These were broad signs that the state governments were increasingly hiring or shifting resources to better process filings for unemployment benefits, given the deluge in recent weeks. Bank of America economists wrote Wednesday, some states believe the worst has yet to come. I think I heard somewhere saying like this week is supposed to be the peak week or whatever. We still have 3 more weeks? Because at least in Ohio here, I think most places like saying May 1st is when they're projecting now. There's no way you're going to keep people out of work, unemployed, quarantined in their house for a total of 6 weeks at minimum. Economists expect another week of jarring unemployment insurance claims as the coronavirus pandemic wears on. The consensus estimate among economists is that the U.S. will have 5 million jobless claims for the week ending April 3rd, according to Bloomberg data. Estimates range from 2.5 million to as high as 7.5 million. In March, the number of Americans filing for unemployment skyrocketed to record levels as coronavirus-induced layoffs began suddenly as the U.S. shut down parts of its economy to curb the spread of COVID-19. During the week ending March 21st, 3.3 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits, and in the following week, 6.6 million filed. That brought the total to nearly 10 million in just 2 weeks. It's a certain projections that's saying, different people projecting, which is insane that it's like this much, And this was like the 2008, 2009 like recession right here. And then all government seems to do is just mess things up. We believe risks are titled to the upside, wrote Bank of America economists Alexander Lin and Michelle Meyer in a Wednesday note. The bank's estimate is that weekly jobless claims will be 6.5 million. While scanning through the news, there were broad signs that the state governments were increasingly hiring or shifting resources to better process filings for unemployment benefits, giving the delusion recent weeks. The Economist wrote, some states believe the worst is yet to come. Thursday's report from will be the first glimpse at the labor market since Friday's non-farm payroll report showed that the U.S. lost 701,000 jobs in March, more than economists expected. The report also included data before March 14th, leaving out 2 key weeks of job losses. Economists, including those at Bank of America and J.P. Morgan, have also pointed to the Google trend data that shows that that searches for unemployment benefits and filing for unemployment continue to climb, which could mean that weekly claims come in higher than expected. Unemployment insurance claims could also be boosted by the $2 trillion coronavirus stimulus package, according to Bank of America. The CARES Act, which was passed on March 27th. I did a video on that if you want to look that up. Or at least the stimulus package payment dates expected to be. Expands benefits to those who may not have previously been eligible, including those who are self-employed or gig workers. The act also extends the number of weeks one can receive benefits and adds up to 600 per week through July. It remains to be seen if the report due Thursday from the Labor Department will show a record surge in Americans applying for unemployment benefits for a third week in a row. Even if it shows claims below the consensus estimate, it will take another week or more of data to see if the trend of coronavirus layoffs is actually slowing. If jobless claims have peaked, it will be the most rapid uptick on the books. The 2 previous peaks in unemployment claims during the financial crisis 2008 and 1980s happened more gradually over time. Barclays chief economist Michael Gapin told Business Insider, but this is a different scenario. He said, as the coronavirus pandemic, lockdowns and social distancing measures have led to a near halt of all business activity. Yeah, this is a lot of it is like kind of slow building stuff, and this is like the government stuff is like, no, you can't do it. Then like just tens of millions of people have become like unemployed in the last couple of weeks. This is insane. I'm also curious, if you're watching this, have you yourself, do you actually know of anybody that has the coronavirus? Do you actually know of people that have been, laid off or furloughed or fired or quit? I guess not quit, but like anything's because of this? Because I know of one person that's been furloughed, but I personally don't know anybody that's has gotten the coronavirus, although I know that affects more the older population. I don't know what happened. The older population and those with like, if they're younger but they have like respiratory issues or something like that. So this is the video for today. If you like it, you can give me a like. If you really liked it, you can subscribe. I'm trying to do these daily videos about current events, whatever I find intriguing at the time. All right, peace.